Hello and welcome to my first YouTube video with Infinite NES Lives. So today I'm going to show you a few of my products and my website briefly, and follow up with connecting my controllers to your computer and playing your favorite games. So things started off about a year ago, playing old Nintendo games on my computer. The main appeal there is you don't have to blow in the games to get them to work and haul everything in and out of the closet. Things become pretty cumbersome. So I used to use a Logitech controller, which works pretty good. Definitely beats a keyboard, but I really was in search of the true nostalgia of the actual controller. So I found there's not a whole lot of options out there and decided to make a few for myself and started selling them on eBay. Quickly, people were asking me to make things like the Super Nintendo controller. This one's a Super Famicom version, but I'm not limited on what I can do for the most part. And this is like a dog bone version. I also do 64, and other things are possible. I started working with controllers for the Wii because I had a customer ask for an improvement upon the classic controller. It's great how Nintendo is releasing these games on the Virtual Console again, but the controller just isn't the same. So I started making things like this, which is a Super Nintendo controller converted to connect with the Wii Remote. I also do connections to the GameCube on the Wii. This one happens to be painted black, as a customer specifically asked for. And then I had a little bit of fun with this controller, just custom painting it myself to see how it turned out, and I think it's pretty neat. Not really sure if I'm going to start selling these, mostly just on special request probably. By far my favorite thing that I've made so far is what I like to call the NES Mote. So my main motivation for this was playing Super Mario Bros. Wii, which is a great game. The one problem being is using the Wii Remote sideways. It's not that great of a controller. The D-pad's tiny. Accidentally hitting A will kill you. So I decided to cram the entire thing inside of a Nintendo controller. This one still has the LED or the infrared sensor, and has a selector switch to change the function of the start and select buttons. The case is kind of crude because it's a prototype, but it works great, and more of that to come. So as far as my main product goes, I feel there's three main reasons why people choose what I'm selling. Mainly and obviously is the actual Nintendo original controller. You can tell because it has the actual name on the front and the back, and the third parties may look nice on the internet and everything, but several customers have actually purchased those and then came to me, spending a few more dollars to get what I have. Main downfall there being is usually the D-pad. Your other choice is to use an adapter, which is a nice option. It usually doesn't cost that much, but I was wanting something that was entirely self-contained, and a lot of people like this, especially when they play on their laptop, and because what Mac users typically like, they appreciate my product a lot of times also. And you will have some problems I've seen with compatibility. My controllers, there's no compatibility issues. It connects as a human interface device, and I've sold over 400 of these in the past year, and I've never had a person that's had a problem, either on Mac, Linux, any version of Windows. It's definitely not a challenge to get these up and running. So the main question and concern that people have is the condition of the controllers. And I go through, clean the entire controller, and replace any parts that have gone bad. So you can see here, this is a D-pad to a Nintendo controller, and this one's worn out. You can see it, the buttons are starting to fall off. This thing actually still works, but it just doesn't perform like it should. So this one here is one that I would reuse. You can tell there's some discoloration. It's actually gotten some good use out of it, but it's still in good shape. The plastic is still all like it should be, and it's nice and responsive. And the other thing that's nice is say, you know, years down the road somebody had my controller and they wore it out. These parts are easy to find on the internet, and you could easily swap them out with a Phillips screwdriver in the future. The other thing is you know, how nice is the case? How good is it going to look? And this is something that, you know, is definitely up to your opinion, but I have the policy where if you get something that you're not happy with, I'm more than glad to return it or to swap it out with something that you are. And they usually have signs of minor wear. Something that has significant wear, like this controller here, you can see the case is cracked. There's been some gluing or something that went on because the screws fell apart inside, and that's why this was a good case to use for a prototype. This isn't something that I would give to a customer. So the internal parts are in good shape, and the case is in acceptable condition. So now I'm going to show you a little bit on my website briefly, and then we'll connect everything up to the computer.
Okay, so now I'll show you my website here quick. It's infiniteneslives.com. But here on the main page, just got a blurb copied from my auctions currently. But you can go to my eBay webpage. Here's my profile. You can see my feedback rating and all that good stuff. And click on items for sale. And here's a listing of everything that I currently have listed on eBay. But I do also have items that I sell for a few dollars less without the eBay fees. And you can pay directly with PayPal and select the different cord length you want. You also see like the 4GB controllers, the 2-in-1s, and some other specialty controllers that I make. Other areas here, there's custom products. Basically, somebody will ask me for something specific, and I'll give them a quote, and I can make that for you. You can just send me an email, paul@infiniteneslives.com, or you can give me a call and try to get a hold of me by phone. Or another option sometimes people do is they'll send me their controllers to save a few dollars, or if they have something that's in really good shape or that they specifically want, I will do that sometimes also. But here you also see the PDF files of the papers that I mail with the controller, just to help make sure everything's working properly. You also have links here to like my Facebook page. You can like me on Facebook, and this is where I'll be putting up things when I have promotion codes and stuff like that to try to promote different things for my Facebook fans. And I also have a Twitter account here. If I don't really do much tweeting at the moment, not much time there, but Infinite NES Live, there wasn't much room for the last S there, but I do have that as well. So yeah.
Now I'll show you how to check the controllers working on Windows XP. First plug it in. You hear that sound, letting you know that you have proper connection. Otherwise you'll get a different sound, and it'll say not recognized if there's some sort of problem with the controller and you have issues there. So you go to Control Panel, and then you select Printers and Other Hardware, and then you go to Game Controllers, and here you'll see the NES, SNES, Atari USB controller. If this doesn't show up, then something's wrong. Your computer's not seeing it. You should never have to click Add or remove the controller. You unplug it, it goes away. You plug it in, it comes back. So you click on Properties then with this highlighted blue, and now you see the controller. So the X and Y axis is on the D-pad, and then the A, B, select, and start buttons. So now I'll show you this on Windows 7 and set that up with the emulator.
Plug it in here, get your sound. showing that it's been recognized. And then you go to Devices and Printers, similar to Windows XP. You can probably see what I'm actually doing here. Right-click on the controller and select Game Controller Settings. And just like Windows XP here, Properties, the D-pad, and A, B, select and start. And now we can open up our emulator. I like to use FCEUX. Go and run. And then we're going to select from the configure input, and most emulators are similar to this. This is just the one I like to use. So here we have Gamepad 1, and this would be Gamepad 2. So go ahead and select configure, and then here you see a virtual gamepad. So what you do is you click on the up button, and then you press up on the controller twice. So left, press it once, twice, and actually this shouldn't have showed up like this. It got an X and a Y, so I'll close this because I accidentally hit down. So clear this, left, left, down, down, right, right, select, select, start, start, B, 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 and A. So I'm going to select close. You can make a mistake thinking this is Gamepad 2, but it's actually 3. So if you want to set up the second player, you hit close, and then you would configure the second port here, but I don't actually have another controller. So then you're going to select close, and open your ROM, and here I'll move to the camera. Actually, I'm going to show you the Super Nintendo controller quick before I move to the other camera. So there, I plug it in, close this out, select Devices and Printers again, and it looks pretty much the same. The only difference is now we have all of the buttons. So the D-pad, B button is 1, Y is 2, select is 3, start is 4, but then you got A as 5, X is 6, and then L is 7, and R is 8. So this is kind of the place where you would see, is my controller actually being recognized by Windows? Is there some sort of problem with the controller seems to be malfunctioning? Well, if the computer sees it right here, then more than likely it's a problem where you have the controller not set properly in an emulator. So I'll also show you quickly how to set up for SNES 9X, which is the emulator I like to run. So select input, and here use SNES joypad input configuration. And for joypad 1 enabled, this is kind of similar. You select the up, and then you push up on the controller, left on the controller, down, right, B, A, Y, X, start, select, L, R. Don't worry about the up, left, down, right type things for the double up, select OK. And then you can go ahead and open up your ROM and start playing.
Okay, so now that we've set up the controller for the emulator, we can go ahead and load up our ROM. Good old classic here, Contra. Select button works fine. Jump through all of this. And as you can see now, everything's working just as you hoped it would have. You can now enjoy your classics like they were meant to be. So, hope you enjoyed this little demo of my controllers and can maybe enjoy some of my controllers in the future. Thank you.